Thank you for your practice. If you need to stretch, must be a good moment to do that. Just getting a sense of what the body needs in this present moment. Thank you for being here. This gives me an opportunity to offer a teaching that has been very present, alive for me in my own practice. Learning to work with difficult mind states. In this reflection with you, the focus is going to be the afflictive state of aversion. In the teaching of the 5 hindrances, aversion is the second state of mind that obstructs, hinders clarity, weakens wisdom. Just as a reminder, the first hindrance is the hindrance of greed, the wanting, the liking, the grasping. And the second hindrance is aversion, the pushing away, the not wanting. And the third is drowsiness, lethargy, sleepiness, when the mind resists to take initiative. And the fourth hindrance is the hindrance of restlessness, agitation, worry. And the fifth is doubt. And we know from our experience in working with these mind states that they work in pairs or more. An experience of ill will, hindrance, can also evoke a presence of agitation, restlessness. This offering on aversion, it's really an invitation to befriend ill will, which can come in different forms, different flavors, including hate, anger, fear, sadness. In my own practice, I notice the value of being able to recognize these mind states for what they are. And already in recognizing ill will as ill will, aversion as aversion, it can create the necessary inner space, that can allow us to breathe with ease, to be with what we're experiencing with an attitude of kindness, of care. So the other aspect to offering this teaching to you is the recognition of the privilege that you and I have by having access to these teachings of the Buddha at a time in our lives that we are faced with so much. We're in a global crisis. Maybe I should be saying crises that can bring about easily this mind state of fear or anger or hate, ill will. We have wars, we have genocide, we have climate crisis, yet more wars. Hmm? You and I have this privilege of access. We have guidance in how we can work with our reaction in relation to the state of the world that is marked by violence, brutality, lack of peace. Where is peace? Where does peace begin? Most of us have been deeply touched by the beautiful teaching on peace of the 20 monastics who walked for more than 100 days, working for peace. Peace for you, peace for me, peace for the world. I mean, in itself, this is really what these monastics have done, a powerful teaching for our times, that we can aim at training the mind in peace for peace. If we learn, you and I, to normalize this experience of these difficult mind states like ill will, fear, hate, anger, we can be amongst those who contribute to peace. It was interesting with one group, the lead monastic in this peace walk in the south of US. I think the question related to peace in relation to lack of peace in the world. And his response really took me by surprise when he said, "Don't worry about the world." Huh? Really? When most of us are so worried, his message was, no, don't. He was saying, find peace here and now in this very heart. Training the mind in peaceful peace in the here and now, in how we meet what is difficult to be with, is how we can contribute to world peace. This was his teaching. In peace, we can also be an influence to those around us, to those we relate to day. So, where do we begin? Can we recognize the lack of peace, the lack of clarity, hindered by these mental states like aversion, greed, delusion? Hmm. A mind lacking peace is a mind that is at war with itself. It's at war by pushing and rejecting, pushing away, rejecting what is painful, what is not liked, right? It's an opposing force in the mind that resists what is, dislikes what is, rejects what is. Well, obviously, that state of mind lacks peace, it lacks goodwill, it lacks ease. But it's an opportunity for you and I to use these teachings of the Buddha, these practices, to train the mind in peace for peace in the here and now. Mm. As in South African, what's coming to my mind, who has been a good role model in training the mind with peace for peace, Nelson Mandela. He is the leader that generally, or the quality of leader that generally it seems we lack in the world. Mm. Of course, other leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., advocating for peace, for unity, for reconciliation. This is also a potential that you and I have to work for peace, for forgiveness, for compassion, compassion for all beings. Mm. We all know, as people who have access to the teachings of the Buddha, the story of Angulimala, the multiple murderer, who, when the Buddha could see that Angulimala, after killing about 999 people, that he was about to kill his mother. And the Buddha, out of compassion, could stop Angulimala from creating that kind of karma. And then Angulimala could experience a shift becomes the follower of the Buddha. And the story goes that he became enlightened. This is an encouraging story of the greatness of this human heart in whatever it faces. That it can go beyond aversion, greed, delusion. I mentioned earlier on as I was starting that I'm visiting a friend in George. And earlier on today, with the news of more wars, we got into this conversation about violence, the psychology of violence. And Chandra shared with me the work that may be known by some of you on the psychology of violence by James Gillen, who was a psychiatrist working with inmates, coming to understand the psychology of violence through that work. That violence seems to always have a link to shame. Shame that may be experienced out of experiencing dishonor, being belittled. And the psyche, in defense to this experience of shame, reacts through violence and brutality. Sometimes people who have experienced in their lives lack of good enough care, good enough attachment to parents, primary caregivers, where there was absence of emotional self-regulation. This is what you get, a mind filled with violence. So you and I, with this access to these teachings, we can explore these different flavors of afflictive mind states, including fear, hate, anger. Meet it with kindness, goodwill, empathy, rather than condemn, judge ourselves, direct ill will towards ourselves, and then do the same with others. We can meet ourselves with kindness, with patience, with forgiveness. Because the reality is that we are always in relationship to ourselves, to something, to others. What's the quality of that relationship? 2 weeks ago, I was in a retreat with one of my favorite teachers, Achan Suchiro, who was teaching here in South Africa for about a month. One of the things I hadn't had before so clearly, that was a wake-up call in noticing for myself. Oh boy. Am I still there? I dropped my computer. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Cool, 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 cool. I'm still here. So I was still sharing this story then, learning from this retreat with Ajahn Suchito, where he said, the heart lives in relationship. You won't find the heart in the senses, but you find it in relationship. So what's the quality of our relationship to our own experience, moment to moment? What's our relationship to others? What's even our relationship to inanimate objects that we use every day? Hmm? This piece around how we relate to inanimate objects, it reminds me of another teacher, a much beloved teacher who used to come to South Africa, Godwin Samraratne, a Sri Lankan. So Godwin used to encourage his students to relate to inanimate objects that you use every day, like your phone, your computer, whatever you use to support yourself. Give gratitude. Mm. Can you let it be a relationship of appreciation, of kindness towards that object? So here's the thing here from Ajahn Suchito's comment and this teaching of Godwin's, it's really about being more present moment to moment to how we're relating. What's the nature of our relationship to our thoughts, to our feelings, to our mood? And if the more I think about this teaching and extending this quality of relating to anything and everything with an attitude of kindness, it means available to us is so much opportunity to cultivate kindness, goodwill. And there's a wholesome states of mind that cannot be separated to the training in mindfulness. Kindness and mindfulness need each other. They're seamless. How is it to have a mind that abides in kindness, in how we meet ourselves, in how we meet difficult, challenging experiences? So you and I have plenty of opportunities to train the mind in peace, for peace, especially for our times. Mm. When the mind then is cleared of these hindrances, even for a moment, it's a moment of clarity. It's a moment of wisdom, the wisdom of seeing things as they are. This is how aversion is. So this is how we cultivate for peace. We recognize and note that this is how it is now. Hate feels like this. So this is where our practice begins. That can take us all the way to the wisdom of equanimity, a mind that is non-reactive, a mind that can stay sturdy, stable, even in such turbulence times in our lives, stable in the face of the inner turmoil, the outer turmoil. So it just starts with recognizing what is here now and notice how I am with what is here and now. So I'll pause here. It'll be good for us now to have an interaction. I would really love to hear your thoughts, your comments.